pirate just pulled you out of supercruise. You're flying a cargo ship. Most commanders have only two choices: run or lose everything. So the Killback has a third option: launch the fighter. Many commanders look at the Killback and immediately move on. A slow freighter. Awkward handling, nothing about its design screams special. Compared to faster traders, stronger combat ships, or dedicated explorers, the Killback looks like it already lost the competition before it even left the shipyard. Honestly, I thought exactly the same. Then I noticed one feature that completely changed my opinion. A fighter bay. Suddenly, this ordinary looking cargo ship becomes something much more interesting. Within seconds, a small fighter is buzzing around your attackers, forcing them to split their attention, while you reposition, return fire, or simply make your escape. That completely changed the encounter. You're no longer just flying a freighter, you're commanding a small combat team. And that's where the Killback finally started to make sense. The Lakon Killback is based on the Type 6 transporter, but instead of being just another cargo hauler, Lakon gives it an entirely different identity. It isn't a dedicated trader, it isn't a dedicated combat ship. It isn't an explorer. It's a hybrid. A ship built around one simple idea. Be prepared for whatever the galaxy throws you. For its price, the Killback offers something almost no other ship can. A ship-launched fighter. That's a feature normally reserved for much larger and far more expensive ships, like the Crate Mark II, Federal Gunship, or Type 10 Defender. The Killback lets newer commanders experience that gameplay much earlier. And surprisingly, it works. Its cargo capacity is respectable, its armor is stronger than most people expect, the jump range becomes perfectly usable once engineered. But none of those things are what make people remember this ship. It's the fighter bay. Imagine this. You're deep inside a hazardous resource extraction site after a successful mining session. Your cargo hold is filling up nicely. Then your sensors light up. Two pirates. One immediately opens fire while the other tries to cut off your escape. In most small cargo ships, the decision is obvious. Boost. Charge the frameshift drive. Hope you survive. The Killback gives you another choice. Launch the fighter. Suddenly, one pirate has to deal with a fast, aggressive target that's consistently harassing it while you reposition, return fire, or prepare your escape. Does the fighter magically win the battle? No. But it buys you something that's often far more valuable: time. Sometimes that's enough to escape, sometimes enough to win, and almost every time it makes the encounter far more exciting. That's when I realized what the Killback was actually designed to do. Not dominate fights, change them. Now let's talk about its biggest weaknesses, because there are plenty. The Killback is slow, very slow. If you're coming from ships like the Cobra, Viper, or the Vulture, it feels heavy almost immediately. Turning takes patience, acceleration feels sluggish, boosting isn't exactly exciting. And if you expect to outfit dedicated combat ships, you're going to lose. Even fully engineered, the Killback never becomes a true dogfighter. Ships like the Vulture, Chieftain, Fer de Lance, or Crate Mark II will comfortably outperform it. But comparing the Killback to those ships misses the point entirely. It wasn't designed to beat them. It was designed to survive encounters they were built for. That's a very different mission. On paper, the Killback looks like a compromise. It has the weaknesses of a freighter and limitations of a combat ship. But after spending time with it, I realized the compromise is actually the entire point. The fighter bay doesn't turn into a warship. It turns every encounter into a different experience. A normal freighter sees danger and immediately starts looking for an escape route. A combat ship sees danger and prepares for a fight. The Killback does something different. It gives you another option. And sometimes that's exactly what you need. That flexibility does not stop with pirate attacks. Mining your fighter gives you extra security while you're concentrating on the asteroids. Traveling through dangerous systems becomes much less stressful. Casual bounty hunting, the Killback can absolutely do it. You're never going to outgun dedicated combat ships, but that's not really the point. The goal isn't being the best, the goal is being capable. No matter what activity you choose, the Killback never feels completely out of place. Very few ships can honestly say that. Elite Dangerous has plenty of ships that are objectively better. More cargo, more firepower, better shields, longer jump range, higher speed. If you're only comparing numbers, the Killback rarely wins. But the numbers don't create memories, stories do. The pirates attack you barely survived because your fighter distracted the enemy just long enough. The mining trip that unexpectedly turned into a desperate escape. The bounty hunt where your little fighter finished the target while soaked up the damage. Those are the moments people remember. No spreadsheets, no DPS calculations, stories. And that's something the Killback creates surprisingly often. So, is the Killback the best ship in Elite Dangerous? No, not even close. If you want the fastest raider, there are better choices. If you want the strongest combat ship, there are better choices. If you want the best explorers, there are definitely better choices. But if you're looking for one of the most unique experiences you can have without spending a fortune, the Killback deserves a serious look. It's affordable, it's versatile, it's tougher than it appears. And that fighter bay transforms what could have been another forgettable cargo ship into something genuinely memorable. Sometimes the best ship isn't the fastest, it isn't the strongest, it isn't the most expensive. Sometimes it's simply the one that makes you play the game differently. And few ships do that better than the Killback. The Killback isn't the ship you'll remember because it was the strongest. You'll remember it because no other ship its size creates stories quite like this. If you've flown the Killback before, I'd love to hear your best story down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more Elite Dangerous ship reviews, builds and guides. Until next time, fly safe, Commanders.